number one. You kind of reset.
Painful, tender to the touch. May also
Same shoulder length, and the other. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Another episode of Real Health with Brandi and Amir. I am Dr. Amir Rashidian, a chiropractor. This is Brandi, the boss, the leader, the expert, and the face of the podcast.
Boy, he gave me a lot of hats just now, didn't he?
Yeah, well, you wear a lot of hats. So this is the Real Health Podcast. This is where we review latest news articles, talk to you about what it means. We summarize them for you. We talk about what they mean to your life, how you can apply the information. And our goal and purpose for all of this is so that you can feel better, get stronger, live longer, and feel younger. Hopefully you want to do all four of those things.
I know I do.
So how are you living?
I'm living pretty good. I would just like to say I did not gain any weight over the holiday season, which may be like the first time in my entire life, which was pretty cool. So I think I spent more time in the gym than I did at the dinner table. I was still eating plenty, don't get me wrong, but I held to my macros. So
Yeah.
it was a really, it was a good holiday. It was the first one I really felt like I had everything under control health-wise.
Yeah.
I didn't have my Christmas presents under control and all that. So I was definitely a little delayed in that. But health-wise, I think it was good. How about you?
Yeah, so for you guys listening to us, it's probably going to be late January, maybe mid to late January when they
Maybe mid.
when they watch this. But for us, this is our first recording following New Year's Day, and so yeah, I gained about 4 or 5 pounds and lost it right back immediately.
Yeah, you have one of those bodies that do that.
I have like a set point, like a thermostat.
Yeah.
Once I set it, then I go up and then drop right back to where it was. So
Yeah.
but I wasn't healthy during the holidays. I mean, I specifically picked Christmas Day. I decided I was going to eat ice cream. I did. I didn't count the macros or
He enjoyed every moment
or
of it.
watch, what I was eating. I took a day. And then I think New Year's Eve I did that too. We didn't drink though.
Mm-mm.
We had champagne when we went to the Ritz-Carlton.
Oh, that's right.
That's the only time we
You
drank.
said that out loud because I don't think I put that on my in my entries. So now my coach is going to know that. So I had
It
a
was
glass of
one
champagne.
small flute of champagne.
Yeah, but I tend to not want to even do that because the math that ensues
Actually, you also
for
had
me
wine
to.
after it.
Oh, hush.
When we went to dinner, you
That's
had
right, I
wine,
did.
I had a beer.
I did enjoy that too.
So yeah, we went nuts. Actually, that's probably why we gained. I gained. You didn't
I did
gain, but
not.
we kept up with our workouts. Joined the new gym, which is really cool. It's called Unrivaled Iron Gym.
Yep.
So shout out to Mark and Blake, the owners, and it's a neat gym. It's got a lot of classic old equipment plus
Yeah.
a lot of new stuff. It's designed for the hardcore lifter, which I hope to be one day when I grow up.
We have the hearts of hardcore lifters.
That's right.
for sure.
That's
We
right.
have a heart of a bodybuilder.
There you go.
So
That's it.
yeah, it's fun to be in there. With
So
the big
let's
guys.
let's jump right in. Speaking of bodies and building and living a long life, this article is pretty neat. We'll start with this one. It's by CNN Health, and the title says Danish researchers. Danish doesn't mean dessert, right? It's for people from
Not
Denmark.
this time.
Denmark. Danish researchers use machine learning to predict aspects of individual lives, including when someone might die.
Mm.
The study published this week in the journal Nature Computational Science details how a machine learning algorithm model called Life2Vec predicted the outcome of a person's life and their actions when presented with highly specific data from data about their life. With the data, this is in quotations, this person says we can make any kind of prediction. This is pretty neat. This person is Soon Lehmann, the study's lead author and a professor at the Technical University of Denmark. However, the researchers note that it is a research prototype and cannot perform any real-world tasks in its current state. Lehman and his co-authors used data from a national register in Denmark detailing a diverse grouping of 6 million people. They included information from 2008 to 2016 related to major aspects of life, such as education, health, income, and occupation. The algorithm learned from the data and was able to make predictions about certain aspects of people's lives, including how they might think, feel, and behave, and even whether the person might die in the next few years. How would you like something to predict that for you?
I would rather just live as if I'm dying.
That's what they are. Yeah.
'Cause
Well,
I
you
am.
know, I can pretty much guarantee you will
'Cause-
die.
yeah, and here's the thing though, we don't have that mindset, right? Our mindset every day is like in the trenches with us, right?
Yeah.
If we all actually took a moment to realize that it's not a guarantee and actually consciously thought about it, right? Because we don't often do that because nobody wants to think about dying.
Yeah. We
But
actually think we're going to live forever.
yeah,
I mean, logically we know that, but it just doesn't sink in. I
yeah,
wonder when it sinks in on your deathbed. I
pretty
mean,
much.
when does it? Or if someone's been told you might die and then they didn't die, like there's people who recovered from diseases that were supposed to be terminal. I wonder what they think
Yeah.
after that, you know, because it changes you.
Well, it does. When you're faced with your own mortality, there are questions you have to answer, right? There
Yeah.
are regrets you have to give credence to. There, like you know that is your last opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And so, what if we spent our entire life in that mindset where we worked hard not to have those regrets, but or dealt with them right away? You know, or we lived a life to the fullest because we don't do that most of the time. So, but those people, I won't say all of them, but a lot of individuals who get that news, right, or that prediction, which even from a doctor, it's still a prediction, right? It is not. Nobody has a crystal ball to tell you when your day is. This is all predictions, and while in this one, 78% of the time, their algorithm was correct. It is still a prediction. And it's
Yeah.
still, in a lot of cases, is going to be determined by what we do, how we think,
Yep.
our behaviors, our life. So,
It reminds me, we had a very close friend pass away at 30.
ugh, that was hard.
And, you said live your life to the fullest. I don't even know what that means. You have to define that yourself.
Yeah. Well,
What
it's
is it
different for
full
everyone.
for you? I am perfectly happy having a routine of every day doing the same thing, like going through my life. And every once in a while, yeah, go on a trip or enjoy life a little bit. I am not one of those people who says I need to see the world or I need to, explore. Although
Isn't
I've,
it funny how we're built so
yeah,
differently? Because you can eat the same thing every day.
yeah,
Matter of fact, you are just built like that. I am not. The
right.
reason why I change my hair all the time is so you don't come home and I'm gone, packed up, and not because I don't love my people, but I love macro change. Like I need big change in my life. Now, don't move my spatula from one drawer to another. That will send me through the roof. But I need big change. So spontaneity and having that is super important, but you
Yeah.
don't need it.
Well, that's why you liked your Christmas present this year.
I did. It was really good.
So, to predict how early someone might die, the team used data from January 1st, 2008 to December 31st, 2015 on a cohort of over 2.3 million people between 35 and 65 years old. This group was selected because mortality in that age range is more difficult to predict. To test how good Life2Vec is, we pick a group of 100,000 individuals where half survive and half die. So this is putting them, I guess, in the past, they've died. The researchers knew which people had died after 2016, but the algorithm did not. Then they put it to the test. They had the algorithm make individual predictions on whether or not someone lived past 2016. The results were impressive. The algorithm was correct 78% of the time.
I mean, it is an impressive number.
So it basically told um, 22 of the 100 people said, "You're dead." And they said, "No, we're not. We're still alive."
Nope, still here. It's really funny.
People who were male were more likely to die after 2016. I guess it's just pertaining to the 100,000 they picked. Being a skilled worker, like an engineer, or having a diagnosis of a mental health problem, such as depression or anxiety, also led to an earlier death, the researchers found. Meanwhile, being a managerial position or having a high income often pushed people toward the survive column. So, that means you're going to live a long life because you have a high income and you manage, organizations.
I'm also a girl.
So, yeah, that's true. You're not male.
I'm supposed to live like 7 years longer than you.
It's unclear whether Life2Vec's findings can be applied in other countries like the United States, given their economical and societal difference. So never mind. You're in America. You're not Danish. Why are we reading this then? If it's, and by the way, it says it can't predict if you're going to die in a car crash. Like accidents can't be predicted.
Correct. Well, and here's the next question, because this is really what's getting ready to pop up. And this was my first thought is, what kind of value does that really bring? Besides it possibly leading somebody to living their life more fully, right? There's really only one other entity that stems to benefit from this information. There may be a couple, but there's one specifically that I'm thinking of. And they're also the ones that like to make determinations on your health.
Apparently, those companies already have their own algorithms,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know how accurate they are, but they won't. They keep it secret.
Right. Well, it looks
We're
like
talking about the insurance industry, life insurance.
this is 11%. The one that was just tested that we've been talking about is 11% more accurate than the models that are currently being used. So yeah, they are looking at that and they're trying to make predictions on our lives and determinations on how long we're going to live.
Well, just apply for life insurance. If you get denied, that means you're going to die in the next 4 years.
So live it up, people.
4 years, 5 years, whatever. There's a period of time where they say your insurance pays for itself or something like that. So I
wonder if they predicted that you did or that you would and you didn't, if you could go back.
Yeah, retroactively
That's right.
get your life
get
insurance
my life insurance back with a discount.
Or sue them.
I don't know.
Okay. The attorneys are now licking their chops. We never thought about this kind of lawsuit. You can sue anybody for anything these days. Any day you can. So anyways, I think
not new, though.
Are we done with this article?
Yeah, I think
it says we're worried about the robots taking over the world and deciding they don't need us, the author said. But what we need to worry about is the robots manipulating information and being able to predict a lot about our behavior, that we wind up having lives that are so predictable that they take some of the value out of living. That's a little far-fetched.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny. I put a question mark next to that as well. So
yeah. I don't know. Anyways, take it as you want. We just thought it was kind of neat that they have a computer that can predict what your behavior is going to be.
I think it's important for us to see these things and know what is being developed, because this is all a part of the AI package that's out there that's being developed.
Part of the problem is
crazy.
We don't talk to people. Like I would rather go look at my computer and say, how will Brandi, my wife, respond if I ask her for this? And then it'll say 78% chance she's going to say no. and then I won't ask her, Well, I could just go and ask you, hey, can we go out to dinner? So, use your imagination. Moving on. Talk to people. You don't need to predict their behavior.
That's right.
Asthma Inhaler switch in 2024 could leave some patients scrambling. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this one. It's from U.S. News. Basically, a popular asthma inhaler is being discontinued on January 1st. Now, we know it's past January 1st, fueling concerns that patients may have trouble getting insurance coverage for alternatives.
So So basically, here's what happened. Flovent, the company who's producing this, GSK, there are some stipulations with that in the contract that they have. It sounds like with Medicaid. And so in order to bypass the regulatory things that are going to be, which is going to cause them to lose money on Flovent.
Yeah.
So instead of honoring and living through that contractual obligation, they've decided to discontinue it. As of January 1st, it was discontinued, and they've created an approved generic version. Approved by the FDA is different than approved by the insurance company.
Correct.
So now, because all of these pharmaceutical companies have a contract with the various insurance companies, which say, we'll pay for this, we won't pay for this because you're charging us this or you're discounting this. So as opposed to us making a decision about what a patient should have based on what they need medically, we're doing all of this backdoor stuff because of money, because the pharmaceutical companies aren't getting enough in their pocket. So now we need to bypass even more so they don't lose any money, which...
And the insurance company doesn't want to lose money.
Correct. So now we're
And the
either
people
not
can't
going to
afford
have...
it.
Correct. And we're not either going to have what's working for a patient, what's affordable for a patient, what their insurance will... It's just a mess. I'm like, why are we allowing them to discontinue something that they have a contractual obligation? Like...
Yeah, I mean, it's the most used asthma medication. It reduces inflammation in the lungs and reduces allergic response to environmental allergens. It says experts on the pharmaceutical industry told CNN that GSK, I believe that stands for GlaxoSmithKline is the company, is making the switch at a time when Medicaid rebate changes could saddle the company with large penalties because of previous price hikes on Flovent. So previous price hikes tells me that the company hiked the price. Yeah. Medicaid says you have to give us rebates, and they don't want to pay the rebates.
Correct.
So they got their money. They don't want to pay their part.
Correct.
The change going into effect on January 1st removes a cap on Medicaid rebates that pharmaceutical companies must pay if they hike prices more than inflation. Right. So they are allowed to increase price based on inflation, but not higher. Right. And Medicaid says we're not putting a cap on this. We can charge you as much as we want. So I'm guessing Flovent is not going to be the only drug that gets affected. Oh, anything else? Sure now, highest prescribed medications right now are allergy medications and antidepressants. Mm-hmm. Those are the two, really highly. And by the way, they both go hand in hand because antihistamines can cause depression and anxiety because antihistamines block the H1 receptor for histamine. So histamine still gets produced, but the antihistamine blocks the receptor that causes dry eyes and runny nose and itchy and all that stuff. But H2 receptor, when it gets hit, it causes indigestion and heartburn and bowel issues. And H3 causes anxiety and depression. So more histamine goes to the H2 and H3 receptors, which means now we need more indigestion medication and depression medication, anxiety medication. But that's a whole different thing. So be careful if you're taking antihistamines, taking a lot of it. You also are experiencing bowel issues. Look at some natural ways of dealing with your allergies outside of the antihistamines. Mm-hmm. Don't cancel us for not liking antihistamines. They work. If you need it, take it. I'm not telling you not to take it.
But we also know from working with our patients that the histamine is balanced in the liver. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And so when we give a great support to the liver, it allows the body to begin producing the proper levels of histamine.
Liver is able to extract the histamine and excrete it, get rid of it. So yeah, absolutely. You want your liver to work better to remove the histamine from your blood.
Yeah, so we know in supporting the liver, we often can assist people who have very severe allergies by giving the systems of the body that deal with the histamines, giving it the support that it needs.
Right. And it's tough. An article says that during flu and COVID and RSV season, which a lot of people were sick during the holidays, It's a tough time, and this is going to lead to a lot of emergency visits for children
Yeah.
with the drug being gone and people not buying the generic.
Yeah, exactly.
Next, this is USA Today. Cytokinetics trial. It sounds like a nice name. So it sounds like something out of the movie Terminator.
Yeah, it does.
Cybernetics. Cytokinetics trial. New drug for rare symptomless heart condition shows positive results. Pharmaceutical company Cytokinetics announced on Wednesday, they always announce on Wednesday,
Always.
that its drug, it's called Aficamten, produced statistically significant and clinically meaningful results in the phase 3 trial of the drug. Aficamten is intended to treat hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, a condition that thickens the heart muscle and is present in 0.2% of the world's population, according to the NIH. And this trial found patients in the trial arm saw improvement in exercise tolerance, peak oxygen uptake, clinically meaningful improvements in the study's secondary endpoints. So basically, this will help people function better if they have this rare disease. I guess 0.2% is not that rare, but it's 2 out of every 1,000 people have it. So there's a lot of people. Now, it did have serious adverse effects in 5.6% of people in the trial, but it says 9.3% of people had serious adverse effects in the placebo arm. So what kind of placebo were they giving them?
That's fascinating.
I've never seen that before.
I haven't either.
Am I reading it wrong?
No, it could have been written incorrectly too. We would need to dig into that a little bit more to and actually see the abstract, I think.
I mean, can you give them a sugar pill or a salt pill or something that's supposed to be inert, and 9.3, that's 9.3%.
That's
That's
huge.
almost 10%.
Yeah.
Like 1 in 10 people had an adverse reaction.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Or are we saying, so it could be this, it could be that, because maybe they all had cardiomyopathy, right? But the group that got the drug, only 5.6% of them had like a heart incident.
Yes.
And the group that didn't get the drug, had the placebo, had 9.3 of them had a heart incident. But that would mean it doesn't work very well.
Right.
It works well, but not very well.
Right.
Either way, I don't know. I don't understand it. But hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is a condition that causes the heart muscle to thicken, makes it more difficult to pump blood, and usually is caused by genetics. And the symptoms are chest pain, fainting, heart murmur, sensation of fast fluttering or pounding heartbeat or palpitations, shortness of breath. The Mayo Clinic recommends seeking immediate medical attention if a person is experiencing rapid or irregular heartbeat, difficulty breathing, chest pain. That's common sense.
Yeah, I would say so.
Now, this was interesting. The Loyola Marymount basketball star Hank Gathers was killed by a cardiac arrest during a game in 1990, and his autopsy found that he had hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. And then more recently, Oklahoma City Thunder draft pick and former Florida Gator and Kansas State Wildcat star Keontae Johnson was diagnosed with the condition after collapsing in a game in 2020. So there you go. So the drug could help athletes in the future if it's if the 5.6% of them won't. Anyways, I don't know. Moving on. Hopefully it's a good drug. We probably have time for one more. This one gets a little political. And
as several of them do.
It's NBC News. It says Biden administration delays ban on menthol cigarettes until 2024. Biden administration has once again delayed banning menthol cigarettes, infuriating officials of public health groups who say the products are responsible for taking hundreds of thousands of American lives.
I mean, there's a lot of things in our current world that are unhealthy and take a lot of lives. And we are not very good at managing and controlling those.
Well, you know, they added up. It's not hundreds of thousands per year. I don't remember the data range. Oh, it's between 1980 and 2018. So you're looking at close to 40 years.
Right.
Hundreds of thousands of people die in 40 years. Side effects of drugs kill more people than that annually. But look that
That's
up.
okay because there's some important people making good money off of it.
Well, important people making good money on menthol cigarettes also.
Well, which is why it hasn't been banned.
Right, but this one they
You know?
talk about and that one they don't talk about.
Well, of course.
And for the record, we didn't talk about it either. On Wednesday, surprise, it was a Wednesday, the White House quietly updated its Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs website to reflect that any final ban on menthol wouldn't take place until at least March. Even then, it's expected to take years for menthol products to be off store shelves. The ban was previously supposed to take effect by the end of December. And this person said, it's heartbreaking, said Emily, has a last name, I can't say it, the American Heart Association's National Senior Vice President of Federal Advocacy. We know these products kill, is what she says. The American Heart Association and other public health organizations such as the American Lung Association and the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids have been pushing to ban menthol tobacco products for well over a decade. Although the FDA would enact the ban, the move to delay it is in the hands of the Biden administration. The White House declined to comment on the delay. Public health officials worry that there won't be bandwidth to push for the ban in an election year as other political issues take center stage. Why can't they just ban all cigarettes? I mean, they definitely won't want to do that. So the problem with menthol, it says the tobacco industry has fought a menthol ban, suggesting it would force consumers to turn to the illicit market.
Like the black market? Is that what they're talking about?
No, like illicit drugs. A rise in illicit trade will result in increased prosecutions, arrests, and negative law enforcement interactions, particularly in communities of color where menthol smoking is most prevalent. And this is by a spokesperson for R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company. He said that in a
So let me
statement.
get this right. So we know that it's unhealthy and we should ban it, but we're not going to because we think it's going to, if people don't have menthol cigarettes, it's going to push them into hardcore drug use, which is going to create more
Arrests. And it's
more
going to make negative law enforcement interactions. Are there positive law enforcement interactions?
Well, not with all the negative media.
I mean,
constantly.
when they get the cat out of the tree, that's positive, I guess.
I mean,
They don't do that anymore.
Our police officers do a lot for our community
I know.
besides arrest people. And so we just don't get to hear enough about that.
Right. So who's determining it's negative? Because in my opinion, those are all positive. So you know what I mean? Like the person getting arrested is negative, but I mean they're keeping everything
I
safe.
think that whole statement is absolutely ludicrous.
It is. So
it makes no sense, and all we're doing is like grasping at straws, trying to come up with excuses, not reasons, excuses why we don't just do what we know we need to do.
yeah.
Right? Like this is out of all of the articles that we've read over the past 5-6 months, this to me seems like the easiest. I'm like, first of all, you stop selling them. Okay, let the people who have them on their shelves finish selling them, unless you can force the tobacco industry to create a refund process for those that go, yeah, hey, I haven't felt good about selling these. I would love to return them and get my money back, right? Let's do that, or let them finish selling them. Let whoever is dead set on having their menthol cigarettes, let them go ahead and purchase the rest that are on the shelves, live out their days, and then they can switch to something else. I really do not see the connection between somebody not having a menthol cigarette and then going to do cocaine. Sorry, that is a wide gap to jump. So I don't know where they're coming up with that, but
I agree.
that's my. So if you would like to take my recommendation on how to fix this problem,
What does the menthol do? It says when it's added to the tobacco products, menthol flavoring produces a cooling sensation in the throat. That reduces the harsh taste and irritation of cigarette smoke and essentially making it easier to start smoking and more difficult to stop, experts say. So it makes cigarettes taste better? That's what it does? Did you smoked menthol, didn't you?
when I was a teenager, I did smoke cigarettes for a longer time than I would have liked. I didn't have a lot of adults in my life going, "Yeah, stop that." So yes, and I originally smoked regular. I ended up smoking menthol cigarettes for a time. I can't say that it was like a gateway to to anything else. Um, I I think it gave me a little bit more of like a heady sensation, but I don't think that it was. And I don't even know if the tobacco like content is higher in the menthol cigarettes versus regular. I don't know. I just know I stopped and I don't have a craving for it. Matter of fact, I'm one of those people now that I'm like, ugh, that's horrible smell. I don't want to be around it. But
Yeah.
I haven't smoked in so many years. What, 25 plus? So
And then it got a bit racial, talking about how black Americans are affected most. Nearly 85% of black smokers use menthols, compared to 30% of white smokers, according to the FDA. That's a big difference. 85% versus 30%. Why don't the white people like menthol? I mean, are they afraid of it, or
I don't know.
is it cheaper? Are the
Why do
menthol
women
cigarettes cheaper?
birth on their back? It's probably because one person did it
Yeah.
and made it seem cool, and now everybody wants to do it. I don't think that it really has anything to do
Race.
with race. I
Maybe
think
it's
it's
socioeconomic. It says black
they're
men
not cheaper.
have the highest lung cancer death rate in the U.S. according to the CDC. 157,000 of African Americans died prematurely because of menthol cigarettes from 1980 to 2018.
Yeah. I mean, cigarettes are dangerous no matter what.
Don't
so
smoke.
don't smoke.
Just don't smoke, menthol or otherwise. We talked about vaping, on one of the podcasts.
None of it is safe.
And yeah, don't do that. I mean,
Let your lungs repair.
drink water, breathe air, eat food.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to be sensitive to people who are trying to quit.
It's not easy.
I believe Mark Twain said, "Quitting cigarettes is easy. I've done it a million times."
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, anyways, let's hope we learned something today, and we're gonna do some healthy things like avoid heart disease and all cigarettes, and get out there, get some fresh air and exercise.
And live your life like there's no tomorrow.
Live to the full, and don't let these predictions tell you how you're gonna live. It bothers me when a doctor says you're gonna die in 6 weeks or you're gonna die in 6 months. Do you know how often those people die exactly on the time frame that the doctor gave them? And the doctor goes, "Oh, I'm brilliant. I must have predicted it correctly." It's not true. You put it in their head, and they acted as if they were going to, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Absolutely.
When we give people life, we say, "Hey, other people have recovered from this.
You can too.
Let's go for it. Let's try. Let's add years to your life, and you can add years to your life by doing the right things."
Nobody ever is worse off by believing something better for themselves, right? If you believe the negative things that somebody sets out for you, you're owning those. So you can choose whether or not you believe it, and then leave it up to your creator.
I was talking to a patient yesterday. You know her very well. She's the mom of someone who's worked with us before, and so on. And so her orthopedist said, you have arthritis in your shoulder, and it's never going to heal, and it's never going to get better. And I said, why don't you expect that it will get better? I have a disease in my knees called osteochondritis dissecans, which is supposed to destroy your knees. I've been pain free for several months now. I had pain for several years, 3.5, 4 years of terrible pain where I couldn't get out of my chair. I couldn't climb up and down stairs. It was just bothering me a lot. I would do it, but it was very, very painful. Exercise, all that stuff. And then gradually started to get better, but I always believed it would. And I don't know if that's what made it better.
Yeah.
But I'm telling her, I said, it takes the same amount of energy to expect it to get worse. It takes the same amount of energy to expect it to stay the same. It takes the same amount of energy to expect it to improve. So you're going to expect something anyways. We all have
we
that.
know the body does follow our thoughts
That's right.
and what we believe to
That's
be true.
right.
So you are no worse off to believe that you're going to be better off, to believe that you're going to be okay, that you're going to kick whatever it is you're fighting, whether it be, you know, cigarette smoking, whether it be, you know, a disease process, it doesn't matter. Like, think positively because you're always going to be better off. So, better shot.
There you have it. We'll see you next time. God bless you. Thank you so much for watching or listening if you're not watching. And please share this if it's helpful. And tune back in next time. We'll have more for you.
See ya.